Hi, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner.
And our dog, Betty White.
Your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
Could we have named it something more creative? Probably. But it's the name of our blog. It's our last name. We're on an adventure. Yada, yada, yada. After owning our own business, working 24/7.
And don't forget a mental breakdown in between.
We made a lifestyle change and decided to make the most out of life.
We sold our house, most of our belongings, downsized, and moved to the coast.
We live life minimally, but fully.
We live each day as an adventure.
This show will help you learn how to live life more fully, with more intention, by experiencing more, and with less stuff.
We'll talk about our own experiences, interview others who have much to share by creating a spark in our lives.
Some days we'll share real-life ongoings of what we're going through, and others will talk about our favorite flavor of waffle.
Come join our adventure.
It's the Arner Adventures Podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Shannon.
Betty White is hanging here with us for episode 24 of the Arner Adventures Podcast.
Today, we have an episode that is going to get you ready to go take a walk, breathe in some fresh air, and experience Mother Nature. But first, let's get to our review of the week.
Well, today's review comes from Mark MP3. Mark says, "This show is all about living your best life without the stuff that weighs you down. Their guests portray that same philosophy. It's all about experiencing life. We all should just live each day to the fullest, and I love this podcast reminds me to do that."
I absolutely adore that review.
Well, I do too. And everyone that comes in just kind of compounds the idea that we're doing something useful and people appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming in with that insight. You didn't have to take your time, but you did, and we really appreciate it.
We do. That is exactly why we created the podcast and how the blog was started. And reviews like Mark's is just a reminder that it's all worth it. So thank you for taking your time. And if you'd like to be our review of the week and get the chance to receive a gift from Sugar Wish, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review or rating.
We have an easy link for y'all to follow. It's lovethepodcast.com/Arner Adventures. We will also link it to you in the show notes. As you can see, it means so much to us. It motivates us to continue doing what we're doing.
And while you're at it, be sure to hit that subscribe button in the platform you're listening to us on, so you'll be sure to be notified each time we have an episode drop.
Well, we wanted to come together for this episode because the month of June is Great Outdoors Month, and we thought what a wonderful time to talk about the many benefits that being outside has helped us mentally and physically. But we also have a fun challenge that has a prize attached to it from our friends over at Earth Easy. So you are going to want to stay tuned to the rest of the episode.
Isn't it interesting how when we were kids, we would just wake up in the morning and want to fly outside and be out there all day long until our parents were just yelling for us to come back in and we did not want to come inside.
Yeah, when we were kids, I don't know if the kids now really do that, but
true,
they're missing out.
True.
But we forget about that as adults.
Yeah.
And it's just as important anytime.
Yeah.
You got to entertain the kid inside you.
Right. As adults, many of us have to be mindful and intentional to spend time outside. And it's a shame because the great outdoors has so much to offer us. And that is what we're going to talk about today. You've all heard us rave about Sugar Wish. I don't think there's a day that passes where I'm not telling somebody about it.
Sugar Wish is definitely one of those businesses where you ask yourself, why didn't I think of that?
How many times have you wanted or needed to send a gift to someone and it was either one, last minute, or two, you didn't want to send just another gift that's going to lay around and take up space?
Or you just didn't have any idea what to get the person? Sugar Wish allows you to send a sweet gift to someone and the recipient gets to choose their favorites.
We've received Sugar Wish gifts and sent Sugar Wish gifts, and they are always a hit. You cannot go wrong. It's super easy. You go to the website, sugarwish.com, choose the size of the gift you want to send, enter a personalized message and note tailored to the person you're sending it to. It arrives to that person or pup via email or text. The recipient then gets your message and then chooses what they want.
They have so many options to choose from. Candies, cookies, popcorn, snacks, tea, coffee, wine. Yes, wine.
And Betty's fave, dog treats. Betty gets to choose from crunchy, chewy, jumbo, and training treats.
It's perfect for your fur baby or the dog lover in your life. Use code Betty White, that's all caps, one word, Betty White, to save $7 off of your Sugar Wish gift. We also have the link in the show notes. Sugar Wish always saves the day.
Well, why don't we start when we first moved to Beaufort in our tiny house?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, yes, when we first moved to Beaufort, our home was about 500 square feet. And if we didn't get outside, there wasn't a whole lot to do inside, right?
Right.
And that is sort of the whole purpose of the tiny house movement and sort of minimalism really in general. That's why we love it. It's all about living life to the fullest without all of the things that weigh you down, which is what we talk about all the time.
We do. And I think the tiny house movement kind of launched, really was the jumping off point of just about every little thing we've been doing.
Yeah.
With Honor Adventures.
Yeah. So we've always really loved the outdoors. I think it was one of the things that, Jerry and I had in common from the beginning, riding bikes or being,
going camping.
Mm-hmm. Frisbee, I remember we used to throw softball back and forth. I mean, we just taking Pharrell to like softball fields and letting him run around while we just threw the ball and just different things. But I think that our whole lifestyle is about being outside. So while we find it easier, there are certain things that we want to talk about that may trigger some things for you all to make it a little bit easier for you. And we do want to talk about some of the benefits. So I guess we'll also kind of talk about one of the things during the pandemic and COVID that we also found that was beneficial, right?
Our sanity walks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I still have in the mornings. I know I have talked about this until, I'm blue in the face, but my morning ritual with Betty, of course, but my morning walks really are for my sanity. And I really implemented that during the early parts of the pandemic.
Well, yeah, and I have an occasional one on the beach in the mornings too. I don't do them every day because I get in a lot of steps every day anyway, so it's sort of tough, but I do those once in a while too, and they are definitely sanity walks.
Yeah, they are. We spent, when we were all trapped inside and, in the beginning, you really didn't know what COVID was and what was going to happen. And I just remember we were kind of just in our yard, walking steps in the yard. And then we were like, okay, let's take walks around the neighborhood and get steps in. And we were really implementing a process of making sure that we got those steps with Betty and getting those 10,000 steps and making sure that we did it for our sanity. So
indeed.
We really encourage those. I think walking is definitely a big way to maximize your mental and physical health for sure.
Oh, a good balance. Definitely of mental and physical when you're walking. Yep.
It was also during that time, and we're definitely going to talk about how beneficial this is to being outdoors and one of the things that comes from this, but it was during that time that we discovered I'm probably going to kill the way you say this, but Shinrin-yoku, which
There's no real way to say Shinrin-yoku.
I think there probably is.
There is. I just said that.
Right.
I said that for those out there just to keep it casual and so they wouldn't not try.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a Japanese term for forest bathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd find a forest or park where there were trails away from people and we would go and soak in the forest.
Yeah. It's the Japanese describe it as forest medicine, meaning that being at one with nature provides benefits to your mind, your body, and your soul. If you've ever been skinny dipping, which we may or may not have.
That's a story for another time.
It sort of exudes the same feeling when it's done correctly. You can keep your clothes on, though. I actually recommend it, or you may get in trouble in the forest.
Yeah.
I have heard that some people actually remove their clothes. Maybe if you have a forest on your property, do that. But if you can remove your shoes and just really expose all of your senses to the forest, it really is a wonderful experience. I think especially for us during that time, there really wasn't anyone else in that park, that forest where we were.
Oh, no, that felt really great. Yeah, if you did have your own property, it would be great to take off more than your shoes. But once again, a reminder, I know some people need a reminder that public nudity is illegal.
At least where we are.
At least where we are. So yeah, just take off your shoes and absorb what the forest has to offer.
Yeah. It really is. It's nice. And sort of while we're on that subject about your senses and experiencing what Mother Nature has to offer, you know, Christy Inge, who was the human design coach on episode 22, if you listen to that episode or if you didn't, you know, we were talking about, for example, my map and my intuition. But we're talking about senses here. She was talking about if I was walking down an alley and I was really in tune to all of my senses and my intuition and really like not thinking about other things, not listening to my, you know, not paying attention to my phone, not thinking about the day or whatever, but really in tune to things. And there was just, I can't remember how she described it, but just like, let's just pretend like some bad guy behind a trash can. She's like, if you're really in tune to it, you would probably sense that there was somebody behind there. And I have really taken that in on my morning walks with Betty, that if I'm more mindful of what's around me while I'm walking, experiencing nature rather than, you know, listening to music, which I still do. I just don't do it on my whole walk, or listening to, you know, whatever I want to listen to, or on the phone or whatever, paying more attention and being mindful to nature, the birds or the ocean, whatever it is. I want to really experience nature. And I've been more mindful of that on my walks.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's a huge part of it. Yeah. Definitely. You're taking in all the senses. Yeah. Music's good too. That's a good thing to do, but it's neat to not have that and take in actual sounds.
Definitely is. I also, and this is a boundaries process too, but I also do not, and I take my phone for safety, of course, but I do not turn on my phone. I don't do anything with my phone for the first part of my walk. I mean, I have a whole process with Betty, my meditation, you know, my breathing, all of that down at the water with Betty before I will even talk to anyone or listen to anything. That whole process is for me. It's also part of experiencing the outdoors, you know?
Yeah. And we're lucky too. We're at a good area where we're by the water and there is a lot of nature sounds coming around. So that helps. Yeah. And we've talked about this on other podcasts in regards to stress, but the outdoors can be beneficial physically and mentally. It's going to improve your mood. I think we were just kind of talking about that. Yeah. Yeah. You'll come back, and the idea of a morning walk too. It's a morning good mood is probably more beneficial than all good moods are, but a morning one can set the tone for the day.
It really does.
Yeah.
It does. Because if I don't have it, my mood is pretty terrible.
Right. And along with that, more physical things, you get a reduced blood pressure, a reduced stress level, you know?
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. It's going to increase your immune system support, keeping on that same wavelength, building your focus muscle.
Yeah. So there are studies that talk about your focus muscle is sort of that muscle in your brain that helps you focus. They talk about they call it your focus muscle. I'm sure there's some term for it of what it is, but it's sort of that part of your brain that helps you stay focused. And so they say that being outdoors, even taking breaks to walk outside. Remember, we talked about that on the stress episode. Yeah. That if you're really stressed, if you just walk outside, it helps you come back in and stay focused.
Oh, no doubt.
If you do that often enough, it helps you build that focus muscle.
Yeah. And that's just standing outside. So imagine when you're standing outside and you're taking a walk and you're looking at different nature scenes that are relaxing, then you really can build that up. You know?
I've started implementing that in my day when I am taking my mini breaks when I'm working on projects, and I will just walk outside because I need, I have such a hard time staying focused. Yeah. So I walk outside and then come back in, and it really is helping me build that focus muscle.
know what I love about water? Well, other than living by it.
Well, there are a million things to love about water. The sea life, the healing properties, part of the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, all that, but I love drinking water.
Well, of course. But did you know that humans can only live a few days without water?
Yes, yet so many people live a dehydrated lifestyle.
Well, Liquid IV makes it super easy to stay hydrated.
Hey, folks, Liquid IV isn't scary. There aren't any IVs involved.
No, Liquid IV is a hydration multiplier. It's a powder form, an electrolyte mix that you just add to your water. It delivers 2 to 2.5 more hydration than water alone.
They have all kinds of flavors you can choose from, and they have some with energy multiplier and immune support. Also benefit, they are non-GMO, gluten-free, soy-free, and dairy-free.
If you're someone who either has trouble getting your water in or maybe just wants to get in the express lane with your hydration, you should definitely try Liquid IV.
For our listeners, if you go to their website, liquid-iv.com, and use code ARNERADVENTURES, you can save 25% off of your order and get free shipping.
That's awesome. We'll link it in the show notes too. Liquid IV, fueling life's adventures.
And I know you're saying, Shan, Jared, this is a lot of good things that can happen, but oh wait, there's more. It accelerates healing. It can increase your energy level, which we all need pretty much, especially getting older. Improves your sleep too. So yeah, there's just a bunch of things that going on in a good way there.
What could go wrong here, folks? I think you should just get outside.
Yeah, there's certain things that could hold you back. Thunder and lightning. There are certain things, but yeah, get outside.
Yeah. Well, we have a challenge for you. This is the fun part. Whether you're someone who takes in the outdoors on a regular basis or is not accustomed to getting out often, we want you to take some mindful steps this month. Well, all year round. But we want you to be mindful about it this month because it is the Great Outdoors Month, to head outside and explore what surrounds you. We want you to get outdoors with us.
Yes, get your focus muscle ready to focus on this month.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah.
Pretty clever, huh? I went back to some previous content and I used it to full effect right there.
I like recycling content.
Yeah. That was absolutely spontaneous.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've put together our own 30-day Get Outdoors challenge. Join us for the month of June in taking a small, easy to implement way each day and getting outside. You don't have to do them in any order. The goal is to move through the month and check off each block as you go through the 30 days. Yeah,
it's going to be really fun. If you join our 30-day Get Outdoors challenge during the month of June and complete the challenge, you are going to enter to win a gift card from Earth Easy. So Earth Easy has so many fun, sustainable, earth-friendly things. They are the people who we got our raised garden beds from, actually.
They are indeed. Yes, and they're lovely. I'm sure you've all seen them.
Yep. If you haven't, go to our Instagram page, our website. Actually, we will link them for you in our show notes so that you can take a gander at all of their products for your garden, just a ton of other products for your home for sustainable living.
And do this immediately at the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay, this outdoor challenge is going to be a lot of fun. It's free. It's easy. There will be a daily prompt for you to get outside. How can you go wrong?
I guess if there's thunder and lightning.
Thunder and lightning.
Right.
Check the weather.
Right.
Before you go out. Other than that, get on out there.
Yeah. Well, to access the challenge, you can either visit arneradventures.com/get-outdoors or visit the link in the show notes. And that is arneradventures.com/get-outdoors. So get-outdoors or visit the link in the show notes.
If you're in the challenge, tag us and show us the ways you're enjoying the outdoors. We'd love to see it.
As always, you can find us at arneradventures.com, on Instagram at arneradventures, also linked in the show notes.
So until next time, enjoy the journey that you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Bye.